Biafra, BFR, Raffle Jingo, my people, follow who no road. His Excellency Simon Ekpa Njoku, na him they carry us enter Biafra. He they play the show, no be lie. The good guy, Prime Minister of Biafra Republic Government, in exile, went there for Obodo Yibo, Finland. With him government, na him they do the wonder. Say make you join, follow up, he go sweet you for body. Freedom today, better for you. And your picking them, I dey tell you, you can't still bring ogbonge raffle draw with big money when you go win. I dey tell you, no be lie. Starting from on the 29th of November, go reach December 3rd. Now this thing they happen 2024. And make I shock you, the money, it makes sense well. $20 and total winning prize $10,000. A first prize $5,000, third prize $2,000. BFR, no sit down, no sit, because sit down look na dog name. They want from here gather money to build Biafra where you they cry for sins. You go also win too.
Program wherever you are joining me from, I appreciate you and I thank you for being part of this program. Please like and share the program on your platform. Share to family and friends. Share to everyone that is close to you, so that they can be part of this very platform and be able to send information across. Fellow Biafrans and people of the world, viewers across the world, in this very platform, we do not come here to instigate violence. We do not come here to preach hate. We don't come here for saga or to attack any individual. What we do in this platform is to send information across to the world on the true situation of things in Biafra land and in the contraption called Nigeria. There are so many things that are not being taken note of. There are so many things that are happening that are being told in a different form. In this platform, we bring those information to your doorstep and tell you exactly how things are. There are certain videos that you might not be able to come across on the media. Some videos that are hidden from the eyes of the people, we bring them out and share it through the social media so that the world will be aware of what is going on in the contraption called Nigeria. I welcome every one of you, and I'm going to share a very important information as we speak. I want you to watch this video from the beginning to end. You will understand what we are talking about. So many things that you can't see online. You are going to see it here. So, listen to this very video from the beginning to end. I bet you're going to enjoy it. Let us watch it together and see what the video has to say.
If you are just joining us, this is VOP this morning on Voice of the People Television. Now, Dr. Charles Obinna Chukwunaru, President of the Eastern Nigeria Development Association, ENDA, has accused President Bola Tinubu of keeping IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu detained as part of an alleged political agreement with northern politicians. Again, this is a very weighty one. Chukwunaru warned that this decision risks pushing Nigeria closer to violent state collapse, citing historical grievances and growing divisions among ethnic groups. Meanwhile, Ambassador Bianca Odumegwu Ojukwu has urged Tinubu to release Nnamdi Kanu, arguing that his freedom will help expose criminals exploiting his detention and restore peace in southeast Nigeria. We are joined in the studio by Barrister Darlington Agommo. He's a lawyer and a political analyst. We also have Mr. Dele Fanimo, a seasoned reporter and VOP in-house analyst. By the way, Barrister Darlington is also VOP in-house analyst. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, my pleasure.
But we also have John Akerele join us virtually. John, okay, we expect John Akerele, a Nigerian that lives in diaspora, to join us in the course of the show. Now, Barrister Darlington,
yes,
let me confess to you. Look at what Dr. Charles Obinna Chukwunaru has said. He accused the president of keeping Nnamdi Kanu in detention because of an alleged agreement he has with northern politicians. What's your reaction?
It is not a news. It is not a news because if you remember, when Buhari was in office, he visited Owerri, and Igbo leaders met him and said, look, I think was it Owerri or Ebonyi, It should be any of these two, either him or Ebony. They now
During the campaign?
No.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
no. It was on. I think. Yes.
All right.
They now brought up the issue of Nnamdi Kanu before him. He said that is a court decision that whatever the court decide, he will abide by it. We now said, okay, no problem. Nobody talked about it again. Then eventually the court decided. The court decided, and the same Buhari sat on the matter. So it means that.
Sorry, Barrister,
yes.
What do you mean by the same Buhari sat on the matter?
Because when the court decided that Nnamdi should be let go, we all clamored and said, okay, Mr. President, so that was Buhari then. We now said, look, the court have decided according to you. Why not fulfill the promise you made? He did not even answer anybody. Igbo leaders were visited him, group by group. They all went to Buhari. Yet, he was telling them, okay, we'll look at it, don't worry, we are going to. Up the time he left office, nothing was done.
But there was an accusation from IPOB spokesperson Ima Powerful saying that Igbo leaders, they didn't do enough, that Igbo leaders and politicians are also the reason Nnamdi Kanu is still in detention.
No,
saying that they did not throw their weight behind him, just the way the Westerners did for Sunday Igboho and Showore.
No, that one is afterthought. We are talking of reality here. When things like this happen, every manner of person will bring in their own opinion. But let us face facts. Let us face reality here. Let us follow the trend of events. Now, when the court decided, please, do you need any Igbo leader to tell Buhari to fulfill the promises made? Do you? Even at that, Igbo leaders visited him. In groups, number of them. In fact, Mbazulike, the first aviation minister during the First Republic, he said, please, let it be the last wish Buhari will give him before he will go and meet his ancestors. Yet, nobody answered.
So why did you think the president, refused granting those wishes or those
No, I
gifts?
am telling you so that the allegation is not something I should, it's not a news to me. So, Buhari did justice and left office. Listen very well, though. When he left office, Tinubu now came in. Tinubu came in, Immediately Tinubu came into office. Listen very well. There was a flurry of activities in the Republic of Benin. And pronto, Sunday Igboho was left off the hook and he went to Germany to cool off with his wife. Immediately after that, Showore, another agitator, was left off. In fact, in the case of Showore, they said nully prosecuted. That means discharged and acquitted. The federal government did not even bother to prosecute him. They left them off the hook. Now, what happened to Nnamdi Kanu? If you follow this event, you will know that yes, something is actually, there is an agreement here. Because even when there were, the Attorney General said he does not even know who is Nnamdi Kanu. That one angered even myself. The lawyer Jimako now packaged all the cases in favor of Nnamdi Kanu, both within and outside Nigeria, and send it to 9 cases, 9 judgments in his favor. Up to today, Mr. Okoro, up to today, nobody have said anything about Nnamdi Kanu.
Okay.
We have been going about this in peacefully. Listen very well, because if people don't understand what is going on, they won't know how to approach it. Please, somebody should call and tell me, what else are we supposed to do that we have not done?
All right. Before we bring Dele Fanimo into this conversation, I want to ask you one question now. Why do you think that the North is interested in keeping Nnamdi as alleged? Because the allegation by Chukwunaro is that there's an agreement between President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the North to keep Nnamdi in detention. Why would the North want Nnamdi to be
It's very obvious.
Okay.
Very, very obvious. When Buhari started this agenda, Nnamdi Kanu was the first person that pointed it out. From UK.
Which agenda
This Islamization and Fulanization agenda. It was Nnamdi Kanu.
Okay.
Nobody paid attention to what that young man was saying from UK radio. He was the first person that told Nigerians and alerted Nigerians to what is coming. Nobody believed him until eventually Buhari now exposed himself, and you started seeing Nigerian states now providing their own security, from Amateku to Ebubago that never was in Imo State, and all the rest of them. It was under Buhari, this war, that you saw all these terrorists, you know, taking over the whole of Nigeria. Nnamdi Kanu alerted us. Go and check. It was this revelation that angered Buhari because he took the rug off his feet. The thing he was about to do, or he has already almost completed, Nnamdi Kanu alerted. That was why he started his ESN in the southeast to protect the Igbos. So it was not easy because the first threat of war would have been in the southeast. That Buhari felt that we are too stubborn, that he's going to deal with us another. Nnamdi Kanu took it. You know, he took a preemptive step to protect the Igbos in the southeast. So this thing angered Buhari because they were not easy to penetrate as they planned. That was why they put him in Kula and they use Ozodema. Ask yourself, what is that thing that is so special in Imo State that place has become a theater of war? What is Nnamdi Kanu is not from Imo State? That will tell you that it was a plan.
All right,
Nnamdi Kanu was aware of all this. The only thing that angered Buhari is that how did he find out what he was trying to do?
Okay, let's bring in Mr. Fanimo into this conversation. Mr. Dele Fanimo, in the words of Obinna Chukwuna, he also said something about how all peace advocates globally must demand the release of Nnamdi Kanu by this administration. And we also heard that Amnesty International about chime in and talk about, you know, his unlawful rendition from Kenya to Nigeria, and a whole lot of other international bodies are talking about his release. What do you really have to say? Do you think that this call by Mr. or Dr. Charles Obinna will make any headway?
Well, thank you very much. You see, for me, I think I've said it for the often times here that the continued detention of Nnamdi Kanu does nobody any good in this country. And unfortunately, his continued detention has even up his profile within and outside the country.
Exactly, they are celebrating him.
You understand? And so, if I were to be in government today, my honest advice is that Nnamdi Kanu should be released. So, if government had released him before now, perhaps it may not have really doused tension the way we expect, because the agitation will still be there, because the issue of marginalization has not been addressed. But then it won't give more fillip to the belligerent attitude of Simon Ekpa in this process. So for me, it's even late in coming for Kanu to be released. And I think off camera, I've had cause to discuss with one or two people that something tells me, it's just my hunch, that very soon Kanu will be released.
But you know, yesterday he's supposed to, you know, he filed a lawsuit, you know, demanding 50 billion naira from federal government of Nigeria, how he was kidnapped from Kenya back to Nigeria and all without following the due process. But that particular case supposed to, you know, should have begun. But there was no judge to that hearing. Now, do you still think he will be released in you know, this time?
You see,
Binti Yako was not there. They said he went on another appointment.
If government is committed to Nnamdi Kanu's release, from all indications, it doesn't need court process anymore. You know, and going by the fact that there are some cases that have been decided in his favor for his release, so he may not necessarily have to go through the court processes before he's released. And thank God, at a point I was saying it, that the appointment of Bianca would also add Philip to this student call. And you can see that for her to come up in the open to say he should be released, I'm sure she's intelligent and suave enough that she would have had talks privately.
Okay.
We have 50 lawmakers who have also talked about 50 lawmakers now that cut across the whole nation, the west, the north, and the south to say release Nnamdi Kanu. But yet the government is yet to do that.
What I'm telling you is that some people, maybe because of her background and having played in the diplomatic circle over time, she's not somebody that would come to the open and begin to talk anyhow. She must have done certain things before coming up with this.
I'm happy you raised her background.
And I can tell you here categorically that the release of Nnamdi Kanu is imminent.
You made mention of Bianca Ojukwu.
And I told you earlier that the denunciation of Simon and his followers over most things he had been doing in the Southeast had also raised the bar for IPOB. And I tell you, with all these things that are playing out, I can tell you, you will come back to tell me that I said it.
Now, before that time, before I'll come back to tell you about how you projected it will be released. Now, you made mention of Bianca Ojukwu's background. We know the role the husband played, in agitation and talking about people of Biafra being a nation on their own. We also know what happened, how there was a war, and how some parties were kind of aggrieved up until today. Now, when you juxtapose what happened that led to the civil war in Nigeria and the ideology that Nigerians are still, or Southeasterners are still marginalized with what we're still seeing happening at this point in time, do you think that Bianca Ojukwu's word in any way can, pull through to make Nnamdi Kanu to be released? Do you still share that line of thought? I
strongly share the fact that the voice of Bianca would have some measure of influence in all of this. And you'll see it playing out.
All right. I'd like us to walk back a bit. Dr. Charles Chukwunaro has
to leave the studio.
No, walk back a bit.
Since we're walking back.
Now, I mean with the conversation. Now, the point is this. If you put together, even Fina made allusion, if you put together everything that has happened since the end of the war, some people have also alleged that Nigerian politics has become more like a continuation of the civil war, First of all, do you even agree with Charles Chukwunaro that Nnamdi Kanu is being detained because there's an agreement between the current president and the North, Because of the fact that, look, over time, like I said, since after the Civil War, there's been this cry for marginalization, and the thing became very prominent, quite prominent, during the Buhari regime, when the South, it was more like exclusively excluded from the commanding heights of Nigeria's national life. Do you think that there is more like a state policy from everything you have seen? Even in the current administration, you don't have people from the Southeast. The last Igbo person that served at the highest level is Alex Ekweme as vice president, and that's over 40 years ago. Since then, you have not had a president. The presidency has been in the South for 3 times. It's been to the West 2 times. South once. Southeast none. Southeast has 5 states as against 6 of others. Even Northwest has 7 states. If you put all these things together, do you think that there is a state policy clearly fashioned against the Southeast?
You see, there are 2 questions you have just asked. If there was any agreement between the North and the president...
No, I cannot ask you if there was. Do you think there is?
Well, I can tell you, I am not part of this government, and I'm not a northerner. Forgetting that, don't mind my cap. It's not enough for you to profile me as a northerner. But
you are Nigerian.
But I'm a Nigerian.
Good.
You see, to tell you the truth, it may be real and it may be a conspiracy theory. But the question I ask myself is, what is in Nnamdi Kanu? And to what end is the detention of Kanu to the northern elite or whoever is in the north? Is it to punish him as an individual? Is it to punish him for the sake of being the man at the forefront of this agitation? Or to use him as a way of cowing the agitators? That I cannot really see. For me, I think this particular position taken by this doctor, I don't want to see it as real. We should take our eyes away from it so that we don't begin to do conspiracy theory that cannot be proven. But the important thing There are three things that should be addressed, and until we begin to address some of these things, we may not get to a point where we can sit around the table and begin to discuss on how we want to shape this country so that it will be an egalitarian country that has equity embedded in whatever is happening in the country.
Okay.
Now, even the South...
Okay, you want to talk about the second question now?
Yes.
Okay.
Up till now, Middle Belt has also been assailed by some of these problems. But unfortunately for the Middle Belt, they don't have a rallying point. They are not homogeneous. So it's difficult for them to come together. They have been assailed by this oligarch in the north. You know, they have been denigrated. For instance, the commanding height of the military usually reside around the Middle Belt. The major proportion of soldiers in the country, pre and post Civil War, are always from this part of the country. But since the Dinka coup, you can see how they have decimated the ranks of the Middle Belt in the military. Today, they went there, they took up their arms, they seized their arms, and they exposed them to the vagaries of these marauding herdsmen or terrorists who masquerade as herdsmen. So they also have their own problem. The Southwest, in spite of the fact that we have somebody who is representing us in the presidency, we know the limitation of his powers. And today, an average Yoruba man feels that we should have our own way. Because we have resources, yet these resources are being plundered for those who don't have anything to show for our unity. So you
still think that the North is kind of playing the higher bid in all this that is happening, just like Dr. Charles Obinna?
So what I'm trying to say is that, well, if there is any agenda from the North, it's not going to target only the Southeast.
Personally, let me ask you this question personally, Mr. Fanimo. Is it that Nigeria is having an Igbo problem? Do you think Nigeria is having an Igbo problem up until now? Because if you know, Igbo problem, that was a word by Showore that says that Nigeria is having an Igbo problem. The fact that, you know, everyone is kind of being scared of the Igbos, the fact that they can make a big thing out of nothing. And he made mention of a secret memo that is kind of making it possible for someone from the Southeast to become the #1 citizen in Nigeria. Do you also share that line of thought?
If anybody is saying that there is a script or document somewhere that will not make an Igbo person president of this country, I don't want to believe it. And I'll tell you why. You see, certain things had happened in the past in this country, that Nigeria is a country of possibilities. You know, those days when we were watching 90 Minutes attentively and all that, we never knew that somebody could come up in Nigeria that would be worse than Idi Amin. And here we are, we had Abacha that was worse than Idi Amin. Now, if anybody is saying it's just his own conjecture, a Southeasterner is a Nigerian, except on and up until when there is a creation of Biafra state. A Yoruba man is part of Nigeria until the creation of Oodua Republic. So, to that extent, everybody in this country that claims to be Nigerian and is validated to be a Nigerian has that right to be a president in Nigeria. What is left is how we can build consensus and pull down all these cleavages and ensure that we come in unison tomorrow. And unfortunately, when these politicians want to ride roughshod on us, they play all these cards, and we are like the soccer. We just soak it and then we play along with them. At the end of the day, we don't achieve anything. We don't achieve anything out of it. For me, it is the right of anybody in Nigeria to aspire to be president of Nigeria. How he wants to get there is now determined by that person.
All right, Barrister Darlington, let me bring it to you now. You are from the southeastern part of this country, and then you know what the agitation from the people of the southeast happens to be. Do you think that this word of Odinaka, Bianca, or Njoku in any way will help to Nnamdi Kanu's release? Do you think that the statement she's making, she's, in terms or in worked with the president to make sure that Mr. Nnamdi Kanu has been released from detention. Do you think that can actually happen?
Why not? Because I'm beginning to think that for her to have accepted that appointment may be part of the agenda. That is what I feel.
The agenda to release Nnamdi?
Yes.
Okay.
For her to have accepted that appointment is part of all the opposition against it. And then she cannot be there, and maybe after 4 years or whatever of Tinubu's administration, and then she will come out and start telling us stories. Now, hold on.
She's not the only Igbo person there.
Yes, hold on, Mr. Okoro. Why is it that every other person, both Igbo people and non-Igbo people, why is it that everybody is using Nnamdi Kanu's matter to shine? Does it, I told you here that Sunday Igbo has been released. So when it has been released, what is keeping Nnamdi Kanu? Don't look at it yourself. Does it make any sense to anybody?
So who is shining with Nnamdi Kanu?
Those people who are telling us he will be released today, he will be released tomorrow. Rochas Okoronta said his own the other day.
Rochas was begging.
No, but he said it now. He said it.
He said that.
He said that Nnamdi Kanu should be released in honor of Emeka. I mean, what's it called? The man that died. Why is it everybody? Why? Tell me why. What is the reason?
Isn't that a way for the southeastern politicians to chime in their own opinion and their voice and making sure
they
that
have said what they need to say? They have said it by that.
But some Igbos are saying that they've not said enough. That
No,
just like the way the southwesterners throw their back on the behind the Iboho and the Showore that granted or that led to their release. That is what the Igbos are doing.
Who and who went to plead with Tinubu before Showore was released? We don't woke up one day and the Attorney General said that he had entered the nolly prosecute.
So you think there was but you think there was no undertone?
I said, tell me now, if somebody from the southwest went to plead with Tinubu to release those their sons. Hold on, no. The real terrorists in the north. When did you hear northern leader going to plead with Buhari before he was pampering them, massaging their ego and all that? Did you not hear what their own brother Sheikh Gumi said that whenever he goes into the bush to go and see them, that the federal government used to give him backup? I'm talking of terrorists who have killed and men, who are taking territories. How do you add this in together? And you are still telling me that all this noise about Nnamdi Kanu is justified?
But Barrister Darlington, when there was crisis in the Niger Delta, the federal government granted them amnesty. You have talked about Sunday Igboho and Showore being released. The leader of Miyetti Allah has been released. Good. Bandits.
But I think it was Buhari that released.
No, it
was Sunday Igboho.
No, about the Nigerian state. We're talking about the Nigerian state. Miyetti Allah leader was Bodija was let go. Nigerian government is negotiating. Okay, state governments are negotiating with bandits and terrorists.
Exactly.
We have heard,
especially in the north.
In the north, we have heard people say, "Your people are killing my people."
Exactly.
And all of that. But in all of this, nobody has ever called the IPOB or the Igbo leaders on the table to say, "What is the problem?" Does Nigeria have an Igbo?
That is it. In fact, you have even summarized the matter.
And what is the problem?
The problem is that the North doesn't like the Igbos.
For what reason?
For the reason of what happened in 1966, which was never our problem. Go and check history. They just don't want the Igbo because we stopped them for what we wanted to do. You two will not know exactly what happened. Why Ojukwu did what he did. The North from that time, they have been dreaming and planning that they will take over Nigeria. You say, listen very well.
So if they are planning to take over Nigeria, it's clearly not an Igbo problem.
Because we stopped them now with the war. The war was a stopgap for what they are trying to do. Remember that when Agui University was killed, the second in command was the Brigadier Ogundigbe, a Yoruba man. Ojukwu said, okay, no problem, but let the second in command take over. So that he can listen to somebody. He can never listen to a junior who happened to be Gowon. That was the issue here. Ojukwu said he will never obey his junior in the military. For what? Okay, allow Ogundigbe to say, they said no. They put Gowon there. And that was it. That was the real problem. Every other thing is secondary. Because I believe that if Ogundigbe had taken over, because Ojukwu said that unless I know what happened to Agui Ironsi, or a good debate take over, I will not listen to anybody.
Yes. Let me ask you something. Why is it difficult for Nigeria to move on? The Igbo man that was at the receiving end, the victim of the civil war, has already moved on. The Igbo man has demonstrated more faith than any other person in the unity of Nigeria. There is no part of of Nigeria that you cannot find an Igbo man. That is one. Now, the point of it is that why is it difficult for the Southeast and the Southwest to cooperate and become one block, including the South-South?
It is the same.
You mentioned the Aguiyi Fajui. Francis Fajui, Adekunle Fajui, gave his life.
So because of
so why is it difficult for the Southwest and the Southeast to cooperate?
Before the Civil War, go and check your history. The Igbo man was the leading light. In fact, the Southeast was the most progressive economy in the whole of Africa. It's on record. Ojuku's father was the first billionaire in the whole of Africa. The first.
Reno Mokri has faulted that.
Who was it?
Reno.
Who did he say was it? Who?
He said it wasn't Ojuku.
Who?
Like 2 or 3 people.
Who now? Who? From where?
From the West.
You should have mentioned names now, and let those people come and invalidate it. But we are telling you facts. Okay. That was where you have the Maywood building at the port there. Okay. Go and check record. You know they always have a way of twisting history, but that's not the relevant issue here. Because of the progress of the Igbos or the Southeasterners, the North became envious. They became very, very envious of the Igbos. That was the first thing. Are you getting what I'm saying? Now, they were looking for a way. You know, when your success brings one's envy, they were looking for a way to cut down the success of the Igbo man in Nigeria. And that war conspiracy, the 1962 presented a stepping stone for them to carry out what they wanted to do. That was why, when the coup happened, over 260 Igbo military officers were wiped out in 3 days of ugly killing. 260. So we were killed on the road. So we were killed in the marketplace. So we were killed in the office. So we were killed in their bedroom. Anywhere they see them, they were cutting them down. 260. What was that for? Envy, jealousy. Why would they be? But they occupied that position meritoriously because Ojukwu was the first military to go to our military with a master's degree from Oxford. Abi? There was no other person.
Now,
I want to give you the background where this envy started. Now, the North on their own, they didn't have any. And they were not commanding any particular position because of what? Qualification and merits. Because it had to be with competence. And that was why Nigeria was moving forward at that time. Go and check. The Igbo did not abuse that position. They were using it to better the lot of Nigeria. The first VC of UNILAG here was Njoku, an Igbo man. That of UI, Federal University, was Kenneth Idike, an Igbo man. Please, did they merit this position or not? They merited it. They merited it. But because of envy and jealousy, they feel that the Igbo man is moving too fast.
Okay,
let us stop them.
Darlington, the average Nigerian who understands history understands all of this.
So
the question
that
is, why is it? There's been a conscious incursion, you know, from the north down south through the activities of marauders, headsmen, and all of that. And the question I'm asking you is, politically, why is it difficult for the south? For the south, I'm talking about the southeast, southwest, and south-south, to unify and speak with one voice.
It is not possible because of what? Hold on, because the Yoruba have their own culture.
Okay.
The Igbo have their own culture. And the South have their own culture. And the North is playing along these cultural divisions. But if you go to the North, they are almost homogeneous. The Fulani Hausa people, they speak the same language. The culture is the same thing. That was the difference here. And then whenever they want to do something here, they will look for either a Yoruba man or an Igbo man to divide them, so that they will never agree.
But in North and that, if you get to the North, Barrister Darlington, they don't really speak the same language. They don't speak the same language because we have the different people with their own tongue.
They may have, but the common thing here is Hausa language.
Just the same thing, we have the common language in the East to be Igbo.
But here, the South, hold on. You are talking of the whole South here. I am saying the whole North.
Now, is it the fault of the North?
Is
it the fault of the North that they can come together and form one umbrella, the Hausa-speaking Northern part of Nigeria? Is it their fault that in the south here, that it's difficult for them to do the same? Because if we check how the geopolitical zones we have in Nigeria happens to be, we have the northeast, we have the southeast, we have the north central, we have every other, the southeast and south and southwest. But now, why is it that the north can come together to, form this?
The question here is that how many of these people in the north are actually Nigerians? How many of them? If you count it properly, the real people in Nigeria, the real Nigerian people that you can count as northerners, they are not up to 50%. The rest are people that came from all these other neighboring places, including those that they invited the terrorists to come and they took over Nigeria.
Is that why they are more united than us?
Of course, now that is it. I told you here that the war is all about religion and tribe. That's what is fueling this insecurity.
Okay.
Yes, they want to bring them. Is that one a false story?
All right.
Are you not aware of what happened? Okay. So these people now, if they stay in Nigeria now for a long time now, they become Nigerians. Now they settle down here.
We have other borders. We have Nigerians and we have Nigeria bordering other nations also. For example, in Cross River State, we share a common boundary with Cameroonians. So are you not saying that when Cameroonians get into Cross River and Akwa Ibom, that they will now get acclimatized to their custom and speak their language, and that makes them
what are they coming to do? Hold on. If they are coming to do business, they will always go back. But these people from the north, they are come to settle. Remember that even during our election, they used to go and bring people from Niger. Okay. Somebody told me that his cousins are in Niger.
Mr.
That if we disturb, he will go over
like
there.
You have a different.
So this affinity, this tribal and the ethnic affinity, is what is fueling insecurity in the north.
All right, thank you, Barrister Darlington. Let's hear from Mr. Fanning.
There are two things I want to dispel here.
Okay.
One, that the South as a whole, comprising the Southeast, South-South, and Southwest, that they cannot come together.
It's not possible.
Okay.
It's not.
It is possible to come together. Okay. Then the other one I want to dispel is the fact that North is homogeneous. North is not homogeneous. In fact, North is almost more divided than the South today. And I'll give you... Politically? Yes.
But let me add to this. Every time you hear 19 northern state governors having a meeting, when have you had the southern people having their own meeting?
They have been having.
They have not.
They have been.
They have not. They are not.
Maybe once in a while.
They have never had.
No, maybe once.
They cannot even have.
Now, let's go to the...
Because listen very well, with Tinubu now, the North is now his favorite.
Barrister,
so whatever you are saying here now, you've not listened.
What are the possibilities of a southern coalition?
Good. It will start with a regional configuration. If we are able to push through this regional agenda, which is starting with the commission.
Thank you so much for watching the program. I appreciate you for your patience to watch from beginning to end. I hope you have learned a lot from this very program that I just played, this video. Please like and share the video. Share to all platforms. After sharing the video, now you can go to the comment section and put down your comment. Whatever suggestions, contributions you have to make, what do you think about the video I just played? Go to the comment section and put your comment. I will go to the comment section and I bet you I am learning a lot from there and you can equally learn from there. Let us share our experience on that comment section. Thank you so much and stay blessed. Don't forget to share. And we continue to bless you as you share. Biafra government, peace, progress, unity and equity. We move airborne.